Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to SeahawkTalk here on the Salve Athletics Network. I am your host, Andrew Pezzelli, coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope through Twitter. We have a great program for you here today on a Friday to send you into the weekend. We have Chris Peasley, Tim Sweeney, Scott Barrett, and Cori Hughes lined up for you here this afternoon. We want to talk to them and our producers, but first, like always, we want to remind you to keep your distance. All right, that is The Shake with Keep Your Distance, our perpetual message here on the program. Social distancing, hand washing, mask wearing, all of that stuff. We all know all about it. Want to make sure we keep doing it, and we promote that message constantly and frequently here on Seahawk Talk. Want to get to our producers now, Joy Morelli and Mike DeFusco. Fellas, how are we here on a Friday afternoon?
It's Friday, can't complain.
Yeah, Friday, weekend, yay. I'm excited.
What, if anything, do you guys have maybe to start off the program here today?
I'll just talk a little bit about football practice this morning because, I was out there it was 7 a.m. practice, and I am impressed with Coach Gilmarin because he was out there probably 30 minutes before I was anyway, at like 6:30, and he's bringing the energy at this early in the morning. I mean, I'm just impressed by that. And then overall, the play I thought was pretty good all around. Coffee, right? That's what that's what does the trick. But yeah, the play all around was good. I have to say, if anyone won the live drills or the Scully drills, as they call them, where there's no O-line, probably the offense won those. Quarterback Jack McGuire had a really good day. Actually, he was throwing some dimes way deep down the field. But no Tyler McGovern today. He was at the later time, so we didn't get to see the start of the last couple of years. But McGuire did a very good job. But overall, it was fun. It was fun to get out there, and the guys looked like they were having a good time and doing a good job keeping their distance, as the video will show when we get that all together.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Joey, anything here to start the program?
Yeah, I mean, I'll bring up because I was trying to find some fun news for today because I wasn't seeing a whole lot of fun news out there. It's just trending on Twitter. The diabolical ironclad beetle, which is a super awesome name. First off, this thing can resist 39,000 times its own body weight in pressure, which I've been told by the internet is like a human resisting 25 blue whales. So that's cool. But what's actually neat about this is the reason
it just looks like a rock.
It does. It looks like a rock. Is they're bringing up? I don't know if the pictures. It's the pictures on the New York Times article, but I got paywalled. Is that the way it's shell interlocks and does all the things to make it indestructible? Scientists are looking into recreating that for airplanes and stuff and cars and making safer equipment for people, which is cool. I don't think it would have any practical impact on COVID things, but in general safety, it'd be awesome.
Let's make football helmets out of them.
Yeah, make football helmets. Make I don't know. The way they described it was it's a bunch of tiny shells that interlock and disperse the pressure perfectly, I guess. And the person was like, "Yeah, even if it breaks, the bug will still be fine."
Wow.
But even without the support system, I guess it's so good.
That's one of those things. I think there's a name for this theory. I can't remember what it is, but basically that the solutions to all of life's problems exist somewhere in nature. You just have to go find them. That there's a cure for something in a weird bug that lives in the jungles of South America somewhere. You just have to go out there and look for it and be able to see it and recognize it and put it to use. The diabolical ironclad beetle. I'd want to know what the actual scientific name is of that, because I'm sure it's not as fun.
No, it is. It's like some like bug word and then diabolicus or something like that. Diabolical, some Latin version of that.
I have a friend who's I joke he's got his doctorate in entomology, which is the study of bugs. So I call him the bug doctor. So I'll have to send the bug doctor this article, and we can get some specifics back. Maybe by the end of the program.
Is how the guy found out it was indestructible, because the story starts with he took the bug and then he put it on some dirt and then he had his friend run it over with a car to show him that it was indestructible. He doesn't explain how he found it out in the first place. And
guys, I swear I stepped on this bug in the woods and it didn't go squish. We got to go back and find this bug.
They must have thought he was just a terrible person. He was like, no, I promise it'll be fine. They're like, no, you're a monster.
Joe, Joe, you always find the good, no matter what. I know you can find the comic relief. Well, on a more serious tone, if you see the sticker here today, I went and voted this morning. I did the early voting, which everybody can do. If you got to look up where locally it is for you. It could be at a community center, could be at a town hall, city hall. There could be some other space designated, but right now, everyone, especially in Rhode Island, you can go and vote right now. You don't have to worry about waiting in lines on November 3rd. If you're worried about that, you can go vote early. It's a real ballot. Filled it out, put it in the machine, boom, counted, done, right there, official. They give you the sticker and everything. Super convenient. There were 3 other people ahead of me. I waited maybe 2 minutes. And then filled out my ballot and was gone and out and done in less than 10 minutes. And that was in the middle of the day. So if you go early or later in the afternoon, probably not going to be as bad as even that is. So the most convenient way to vote. And if you have a mail-in ballot that maybe you're worried about it being so close to the election, you don't want to mail it in, you can just go and drop it off at your local board of canvassers or a polling station. So, we're going to keep hyping the vote thing because it's important.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to bring attention to that. I went and voted today. Had to display the sticker on my flannel shirt. So
yeah, if they keep up how efficient it is to vote now and how you can just walk right in, I think that's only good. It's going to increase voter turnout. So hopefully they can keep it going, because that's like that's why like half the country, doesn't want to, or some of the reason why half the country doesn't go vote.
Yeah. Supposedly there was like more mail-in votes or something, or like pre-registrations than there were people who voted last time.
Yeah.
Something like that. So I consider this good news as well.
And we've all heard those stories. Oh, I was driving home from work. I wanted to go vote, but I pulled in. I saw the line and said, I don't feel like waiting. Now, if the early thing gains traction, for years to come, that could be really, really, really convenient. Yeah. We're going to continue to hype that message, the go vote thing, especially because we only got 11 days left before the election. So,
oh my God,
home stretch.
Here we go. Halloween weekend first, though.
Yes. Yes. All right, fellas, I'm gonna let you guys get to work behind the scenes helping to produce the show, and we'll talk to you again at the end.
See you.
All right, that's Joey Morelli and Mike Diffuso. We're gonna go to our first guest now, live from the Rogers Recreation Center, Christopher Peasley. Welcome to the show.
How we doing?
Good. I guess, how's practice going?
It's going well right now. I mean, today's the first day that we have everybody in the gym together. So I mean, it's going pretty good.
Yeah, I'm assuming you guys in phase 3. Is it pretty much almost like business as usual at this point?
Yeah, we're getting there. Everyone's itching to get after it, but yeah, we're one step closer to being able to go full contact. Right now, we got like groups of 3 going. We're allowed to pass to each other, but right now we're mainly just working on like skill positions and stuff.
Now, I know usually when you're with friends or working out and stuff, you can come up with everybody's got different types of games to play where you're working on shooting and stuff. Have you guys actually now had to integrate that sort of stuff that would normally be like, hey, just for pickup into practice, as far as trying to find a way to be competitive while not being physically touching each other?
Yeah, coach actually has been able to incorporate like shooting drills or like for the big men, like post moves, but it's all like competitive. Like you just get a score and then you play against each other. So like we've been keeping the competitive spirit without actually going full contact.
Okay. What's how are the post moves at this point?
Oh, flawless.
It has to feel good, right? To be really getting, to feeling like this is closer to what you're normally accustomed to, ramping up to real, just kind of being able to focus on actual basketball. It's got to feel good, right?
Yeah, there's no better feeling. I mean, we came into this year not knowing what was going to happen, and then we got the green light to start practicing, and we saw the 4 phases that we had to get through, and we're 3 out of 4 in, so our spirits are high, and it feels great to get in the gym with everybody finally.
Now, how much longer will you guys be in phase 3? When will you progress to that next level?
I think next week on Thursday. Thursday we hit phase 4, and then it's all out from there.
Awesome. And at that point, it's basically kind of just like green light, everything, you're good to go?
Yes, sir. It's normal practice.
Nice. How has it been? Have you gotten a chance to work with any of your newcomers, whether it be new members of the team or freshmen? Have you been able to work with any of them on the floor yet?
Yeah, so Coach split up our practices for the first 3 phases or 2 phases. It was 6 and 9, 2 different groups, and my group actually had 3 freshmen, so we were able to get into small groups and give them some of our mind on what we have here and help them learn.
Yeah. How has things been off the court? Everybody's had different things here and there with adjusting to class and adjusting to campus. And everything. How has it for you in the last couple of weeks and maybe trying to feel at least a little more comfortable now?
I mean, you never really get used to online classes. I mean, I'm one that loves being in class. But, I mean, you have to adapt. Coach always tells us to adapt to things, and this is just one of them. So life lessons on and off the court, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Now, Salve just released yesterday their guidance for Thanksgiving break and kind of what they would hope for everybody to do, whether you stay on campus, if you go home and come back, or some people might go home and then just stay remote from there. Have you thought at all about what you're going to do yet and how you would work to stay sharp basketball-wise once we get to Thanksgiving and winter break before hopefully a season?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have our CCC meeting November 9th, and hopefully we have a clue of if we're going to play or not. So if we're playing, we'll be able to go home. I think it's 2 days before Thanksgiving, but I'm not too far away. I'm only an hour away in Connecticut, so I'll probably go home for Thanksgiving. But I mean, we have kids on the team from Florida, kids from overseas, so it's tough. But I mean, me personally, I think I'll go home, but definitely want to be with the team. And whoever can't go home, I mean, they're always welcome with me. So we stay family.
Do you have a hoop at home? Will you be able to get some work in the driveway?
Oh yeah. Got a brother too I can beat up on. So.
Oh, there you go. Nobody. You're allowed to be within 6 feet of family members, so you can't claim. Hey, no, you gotta stay with. No. D me up. How about on the off the court stuff with the team? How has the chemistry building, team building, how have you guys been able to work through some of that stuff together?
I mean, it's going well. I mean, we keep it even out of practice. We still get together and shoot around at the local hoop at Salve, or we go to Gaudet Field and shoot there. But I mean, every day we're together, small groups, big groups. Our chemistry is through the roof, even with the freshmen, which is surprising because sometimes they come in scared. But I mean, since day one, we've had that family aspect on.
Last question for you, Chris. Are you getting out of doing sprints right now? What drill are you getting to avoid by being on the show?
Shooting right now. Shooting.
I've seen your jump shot, though. I know you'll be fine. So I'm going to let you get back to practice. Not going to hold you any longer. Thank you so much for taking the time to check in with us.
Thank you for having me. Have a good one, guys.
All right. That's Chris Peasley from our men's basketball team. We're going to take a short break and hopefully be back with Tim Sweeney from our men's ice hockey team. Don't go anywhere.
So you want to be a Seahawk? Let's make sure you wash your hands, keep your distance, wear your mask, and love your Seahawks.
Sammy, no mask?
Come on, Sammy. I know it's pumpkin spice season, but you can't bring drinks to class.
We have simple rules here, Sammy. Get out. Come back when you can follow them.
You gotta take care of yourself and others, even if you are Sammy the Seahawk. So you want to be a Seahawk? Let's make sure you wash your hands, keep your distance, wear your mask, and love your Seahawks.
Sammy, no mask?
Come on, Sammy. I know it's pumpkin spice season, but you can't bring drinks to class.
We have simple rules here, Sammy. Get out. Come back when you can follow them.
You got to take care of yourself and others, even if you are Sammy the Seahawk.
Welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Pezzelli, waiting for Tim Sweeney, who will be joining us momentarily. I just figured I brought it up with Chris Peasley about the Salve Regina Thanksgiving travel, kind of their advisories, their FAQ, so to speak. So I figured I should have led the show at that, but I'll go ahead and just bring it up right now and talk about it. And so this came out yesterday. This is from the university. Basically, 3 options for Thanksgiving break travel. Option 1 is that you can just opt to stay on campus. You have to, you must notify the university through My Housing by October 30th. So Friday, October 30th, you have to let them know if you want to stay on campus. So you would just stay throughout break. You would never leave. Nothing changes. Option 2 is students can opt to travel over Thanksgiving and return to the residence halls on November 29th. But obviously, once you leave, you can't come back until after that date. There's also some limitations with that, depending on where you live, where you're traveling to, or where you'll be returning from. That you have to check with the Rhode Island's travel advisory, with the health department, with Salve, about if it's going to be okay for you to come directly back to campus. You may have to stay in quarantine off campus, and that could potentially be at your own expense. So if you're going to leave and come back, you're gonna have to do a little bit more legwork and check in on that with the advisors and everything else. And lastly, students can just opt to go remote. Once you leave for Thanksgiving break, you just take everything with you. You're going home for the rest of the semester. And same deal, you have to notify the university by October 30th, and there's a form online to do this. This came out through, I think, this was straight from the university. I thought it was Salve today, but there's links everywhere. You go to the website and look for the Thanksgiving and the COVID news. It's all over the Salve website. So your options: stay, go home and come back, but just gotta be checking out where you're coming from. And option 3 is just to go remote. And it'll be interesting to see as we speak with more athletes, kind of how they feel about that. For everybody, what they're going to be comfortable with. And it really probably will come down to where they live and where they'll be coming and going from. So just wanted to bring that up. That was a little bit of news. We're going to step aside just for one more moment, see if maybe Tim's having some technical difficulties. It's been known to happen. So we're going to check in quick with him off air, and we should hopefully be right back with Tim Sweeney from our men's ice hockey team. Don't go anywhere. All right. Welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Pezzelli. Want to bring in now a senior member of our men's ice hockey team, Tim Sweeney. Tim, how are you?
Doing pretty well, Andrew. How about you?
Pretty good. I got to say, it's like blowing my mind to say like senior member of, like, it just feels like yesterday you guys should just be kids. You just got here. Is it blowing your mind too that it's senior year?
Yeah, it went by quick. I'll tell you that. Like, it feels like we were just starting our freshman class off with, the 12 guys we came here with. So, it went by quick. I know it's a cliche saying, but it really did. It went by quick.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of excitement for the season on multiple levels. One, the prospect of having a season, the prospect of, I know you guys think you can be very, very good. You have a lot of newcomers. I'm sure you guys have been excited to meet, but let's kind of like walk through it step by step. Practice. Most people probably wouldn't say that they're super excited about practice, but everybody seems to be embracing and loving the fact that they can practice. Have you guys have had a couple of captains practices? I think you guys actually fully got on the ice as a team this week. What was that like, and how has that been?
Yeah, it's been good. Everyone's been super excited to get back on the ice. I'll tell you, I mean, living down here in the summer, having nowhere to skate for so long, it was probably the longest I haven't skated in probably a few years, you know? So it was nice to finally have some ice to go back to and get everyone on the ice. Not everyone at the same time, but have some captains practices in smaller groups and move the puck around. So it's been nice. And having this first week with coaches on the ice, it's been eye-opening. You know, everyone seems like they're enjoying it a lot, and a lot of hooting and hollering, so it's going pretty well.
How has it been getting to know your newcomers? I've had a chance to speak with them when they were, after they got, announced that they were coming. We did a little interviews with them and things. But you guys have now probably been able to actually meet these guys in person and now see them on the ice as well. How has that been, getting to meet and work with your newcomers?
Yeah, it's been good. They're a good class. There's some good hockey players. There's a good number of them, but they're all really good dudes. So it's good to finally be able to put some talk to them a little bit other than just over the internet. So it's been good. They're a good addition to what we have going here and the culture we have going. So it's honestly we're really excited to have the guys here.
Yeah. Now we mentioned at the top that it's unreal that it's your senior year. This senior class has been through a lot. How do you guys, and how will you draw on all those past experiences and maybe use the lessons of the last 3 years to really make the most of this season and make it a successful season?
Yeah, so I mean, we got thrown into the wolves our freshman year, not really knowing what to expect. We had a new coach and Coach Klon, so we learned pretty quickly what it takes to get to the big dance, as Coach would say. So we're trying to kind of just, repeat, use our work ethic and build on the culture that we've kind of helped bring here for the program. So, it takes a lot of hard work, a lot of hard battles, a lot of hard hours in the gym, whatever it takes. And I think we're seeing a lot of guys that are banding together and want to, attribute that to our team. So I think we all are excited and we all kind of are on board with what it's going to take to get back to that.
I was going to say, everybody's hopeful just for the prospect of having games, assuming games happen and you guys get to have a full season and all of that is quote unquote normal. What are your expectations for this team? Yeah,
I mean, we're all in the same boat. We're optimistic about what's going on and we're all hopeful that we're going to get some sort of season in some sort of capacity, and we're going to work, as if we are, as if it's confirmed. So we're not going to let that stop us, but I mean, we're hoping for, at least, I know a couple of leagues have had some issues and, they've canceled, but I think we're all excited at the prospect of having some sort of league play or even venturing out. So, I mean, we're excited, we're optimistic about it, and, we're going to, work hard and stay at it as if it's already confirmed. So I think that's a positive, characteristic of our team right now.
Yeah. It might be scary to do so, but let's look forward. If this proves to be your final year at Salve and you graduate, have you thought at all, what are your plans for after Salve?
Yeah, no, I think, regardless, this might have to be my last year of hockey, unfortunately, but, I think I'm a bit finance major, so I'm going to have to, start getting some interviews set up and hopefully get a job that I'm going to, enjoy and start a career that I'm going to enjoy. I think maybe another summer down here in Newport will do it for me. That'll be fun, but transitioning into the real world is definitely at the top of my list. So I mean, as we go forward, I'm gonna learn some more.
Yeah, as I say, I would milk as many summers in Newport as you can before you really get into the real world. You mentioned in our little pre-show questionnaire, you said you're big into TV shows. I think most of us have probably watched more TV in the last 7 months than we ever had thought in our lives, or maybe we're even willing to admit. What are you into right now? What are some TV shows that you're watching? I just started The Boys, which is a really, really, really good show.
Watch The Boys. That's unbelievable. Yeah, I'm big into the boys. I like that. I'm a big Walking Dead guy. That's my number one. You know, maybe I'm a little too obsessed with that one, but I'm all over the board. I'm big into TV shows. I'm not a little more than I should be.
You don't feel like Walking Dead is like literally turned into like a characterization of itself, that the show itself is Walking Dead at this point?
literally, it's gone on a while. I can't remember how old I was when I started watching that. I'll tell you that.
You also said that you're a golfer. I want to know, were you out golfing last time when we had Clapp on here? He was coming to us live from a golf course. Were you one of the guys he was out with?
I wasn't with him, but I saw that. That was funny. That was good. I wasn't with him, but I'm not good enough to play with him.
I was going to ask, who is the best golfer on the team currently? I know a lot of you guys do like to golf.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of bad golfers, I can tell you that. Ty Carangelo is pretty good. I played with him. He's pretty good. I mean, honestly, there's probably more bad golfers to talk to than good. So that's funny.
I gotta ask, what is this like tapestry or whatever that's behind you? Because that is really really cool.
I actually forgot that was there. No, it's Paul Budasov's actually. He brought that. You know, that's his contribution to the house. I think it's a submarine or something, but it's right up his alley. You know.
Yeah. So we'll have to get the president on. We'll talk to him about that then.
Supporting his merchandise right here. He got me a nice hat. It's a good fit.
Exactly. Last question, Tim. How has this pandemic, say, put things into perspective and maybe changed the way that you look at the world?
Well, you know, it's obviously changed a lot of people's perspectives about, you know, just life in general. But I mean, I think it's kind of showing what's mostly important in life. You know, getting to spend those few months with your family. You know, it's important. And being away at college, you don't necessarily get all that. So I mean, it's definitely put me in a spot where I see, or not see, my family, but I'm, you know, more into my family, and I think it's more important to, you know, keep in touch and, you know, have those family moments, and because, you know, you never know, there could be, you know, a pandemic. You know, who would have expected that? You know, why does it take that to bring families together? You know, so I think it's definitely showed me what's actually important in life.
Awesome, Tim. Good luck with the rest of the fall. Like I said, we're all hopeful for games happening this winter. Can't wait to see you guys hopefully out on the ice. And yeah, it was great to see you. Haven't seen you in a while, so
thanks, Andrew. Yeah,
take it easy.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that's Tim Sweeney, senior member of our men's ice hockey team. We're going to go now to a good friend of the program, Scott Barrett from the Newport Daily News. Scott, how are we doing?
How's it going, guys?
Good. I wanted to ask, we source you guys all the time. We're trolling the Newport Daily News for news, information, tidbits. And we noticed yesterday two things: that you guys made a new hire, which was cool to see. And then it looked like you guys went through like a website redesign. So maybe talk about both. Is the hire, is that going to help alleviate any pressure off of your shoulders?
Well, hey, look, it's exciting times for us, for sure. Yeah, we did. We made a hire. We brought in a reporter, Savannah Dunning. She's a recent graduate of the University of Texas. You know, and I could say she's going to be great. She blew us away in her interview. She was so prepared. Like you know, we're interviewing her, and she came in and she said, you know, she had been reading our website, which was, you know, and then she's like, well, I noticed you guys have been covering this a little bit here, but, you know, what about this for a story? And it was like, you know, she was just so prepared. You know, she's miles ahead of where I was when I started in this business 20 years ago. She's going to be great. Our subscribers and our readers are going to love her.
I was to say, somebody was just like bubbling over with excitement to come work for a newspaper. You guys were like, yes! Well,
no, see, you say that though, but you know, this is it's an industry. It's a labor of love. I mean, I think any industry is going to be a labor of love when you do it. You know, you get down into the nitty gritty, and then you know you just start doing it. I mean, we need these kind of people. We need these young journalists to uphold, you know, generations of great journalists. I mean, you know, the world is changing, and you know, and people need to adapt. But journalism and its ideals, you know, they don't change. They shouldn't change. They shouldn't change. You know, they can change, but you know what? I mean, you need strong journalists to hold the government officials accountable. I mean, you need these people.
Yeah, and I jest about that, about working in this. I cut my teeth in newspapers as well. I was that young kid coming in being like, oh, come on. Does it help to have when somebody brings that energy in? Does that kind of give everybody else that little bit of extra pump? Like, oh, wow, this person's pumped. I should be pumped too.
It's hard. Like, if you've been in this business for 20 years, it's in seeing everything. It's hard to get fired up. But you know what? You when someone else brings it in, you notice that from them, someone who's just and she is, and you're gonna find she's eager and she's hungry and she wants to get out and she wants to report. And her first story was about, poll workers around the county. And I read it and I sent her an email. I said, great job for someone who moved here from, a 26-hour ride from Austin, Texas to here. 2 days later, we're like, hey, call all these people and do this story. And she did it and she did a great job. I mean, but you know what, when you see someone like that with that, that has that hunger, I mean, yeah, it's good. It's good for our department for sure.
I'm just putting these breadcrumbs together in my own mind. So she's coming from Austin. Josh Krieger went from here. Is there any connection there at all? Did he recommend, hey, if you're going to Rhode Island, I know or is it just total coincidence?
No, it was an exchange program. No,
okay.
I'm kidding. No connection there at all. We finally got rid of Josh. We sent him down to Austin. We said, you know what, bring Savannah up here. No connection at all, but I think it's just more of a coincidence than anything.
It's a typical Rhode Island thing. That's what it is.
And she's never been to Rhode Island before, so she gets up here and she's like, and she takes her, goes around the Ocean Drive, and she's like, this place is more beautiful than I had imagined. I'm like, yeah, and I think maybe we take it for granted sometimes. I think we just kind of go our day-to-day business and our day-to-day lives, and I think sometimes we tend to take for granted what this place really is like.
It's really easy to do. I mean, I grew up in Narragansett. I went to school at Endicott up in Beverly, Massachusetts, right on the water. Now I work at Salve. I used to cross the bridge every day to come to work and be on the ocean and the cliff walks and everything. But you kind of get just accustomed to it. And it was not until I took a road trip and I went across the country and I spent about 10 days looking at nothing but either empty fields or corn. And then I got to the West Coast and saw ocean again. I didn't realize how much that was ingrained in me, that I missed it, that I needed it.
Right.
Same deal coming through the South, being in Austin, Texas, been there, loved it. But then when you get to the coast, it's just a different feel. I don't know if it's the salt air. I don't know if it does something for you, but it really is easy to take it for granted.
Right. Well,
trying not to.
Newport in general, I mean, just go down Bellevue Avenue and, here's the International Tennis Hall of Fame where, the first U.S. Open was right there. And then there's the Breakers and then there's the Ocean Drive. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I need to stop and just really appreciate it. And I'm glad I'm raising my kids here, really, to say, that this is where they get to grow up. I grew up in Massachusetts, your typical suburban, cookie cutter town that, that was just like the next town and the next town over. And, I'm glad that my kids get to be in a spot where, it's different. It looks different. It feels different. It smells different.
Yeah. Everybody obviously has been talking probably for months about the impacts of COVID on sports itself. How can you play? How do you have to test? And all these sort of bubbles, all of this sort of stuff. What probably doesn't get as much play, though, is how it affects how we cover those sports. From your standpoint, how has COVID impacted and will continue to impact and change the way you will report on the game, whether it be high school all the way up to the professional level?
You've gone in and out for the past minute and a half. Didn't get any of that question.
I will ask again. How will COVID impact and continue to impact the way you'll cover the game, whether it be high school all the way up to, say, a pro level?
Well, it's something you can't ignore. I mean, it's going, I listened to your two interviews ahead of time, basketball players who can't pass the ball and hockey players who, I mean, you look at Massachusetts and they're closing rinks. And look, this is going to be here until it's not. This is going to be, what defines sports. Look, there will be competition, and we hope there will be championships. We hope there will be tournaments. Right now, as of right now, the Rhode Island Interscholastic League has their championships on. That's a good thing. It could change, but for right now, it's always something that you have to think about. And it's getting old. Like, it's getting old. What was it like wearing a mask? While you played, and you gotta think outside the box when it comes to coverage. But I don't think you can just sit here and cover. I don't think it's business as usual. It shouldn't be. I mean, as much as you want it to be.
Yeah. Kind of a local question. We spoke on the show yesterday, this past weekend. I think they had their final set of events at McCoy Stadium. The Paw Sox are becoming the Woo Sox. What do you think? You're kind of cued into the Rhode Island sports world. What should happen with McCoy? Should we bring the revolution to Rhode Island. Let them get out of Gillette Stadium where they're at overcapacity, a bigger stadium than they need. What should happen with McCoy? Should Rhode Island get another pro sports team?
I don't know. That's a good question. Soccer has right. Lower level soccer, not MLS level soccer, has been thrown around there. I mean, that's going to be up to politicians, and how much work they want to, do and put in there. And I mean, obviously, I think politicians dropped the ball in the first place to have the Paw Sox leave. So, I don't have a solution. I don't even, have any, I don't even really have an opinion on it. I mean, I'd love to see soccer. I mean, I think it's an undervalued sport in this part of the country. I think we have some pretty good soccer players who come out of here, but it would be nice to have something that we could call our own.
Yeah. Kind of a two-part question. Are you normally a baseball fan, like a Major League Baseball fan, and how much did you watch of this season?
None. I will be honest. I liked baseball a lot more a long time ago. I mean, I am a football, basketball guy, and sorry, Eric Sorella. I'll watch Eric Sorella's team any day of the week, but for the overarching sport, I mean, I don't get the same excitement level as I do when I watch college football and college basketball and pro football. I don't know. I mean, it's a faster moving sport and there's more happening.
And so that is the attitude of most people you talk to. Just came out today, probably actually only in the last half hour or so, that the NBA is now, they do think it's realistic. They're going to go to a vote next week with the Players Association to start on Christmas Day and play a 72-game schedule that would end somewhere late June, maybe early July. I think that tremendously, baseball has to be worried about that. People already prefer basketball, football, these other sports to baseball, and now those are going to be happening during baseball season. Should baseball be worried?
No. I mean, look, baseball is still a very rich sport with TV contracts, and baseball makes a lot of money. I don't think so. I think baseball people love baseball, and I think basketball people love basketball. And sure, there's going to be crossover, but you're always going to have your base, your fan base, your unwavering fan base. I think. As far as starting on Christmas Day, though, I mean, that's not a lot of turnover time. I hope for those schedule makers, I hope there's not a lot of back-to-backs. I mean, I think you're going to see a lot of players opt out of certain games. Have a
load management.
Right, like a mental health day. I mean, I think that's fair to say. I mean, Christmas Day, that's very, very soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great gift for NBA fans, but yeah, for some of the Lakers just finished last week.
I know. All right, and you're going to sit there and ask 36, 37-year-old LeBron James, say, listen, we need you on Christmas Day. It's our big, it's their big showcase, day, where they have like 6 games in a row.
Yeah. So, well, Scott, speaking of people who love basketball, we've got one of those waiting in the wings, Coach Cori Hughes. So we're going to get to her. Always love talking with you. As often as you like, sir, you're welcome back on the show.
I thank you guys for having me, tolerating me. Appreciate it, guys. Take care.
All right, that's Scott Barrett from the Newport Daily News. And as promised, we're going to get to Coach Cori Hughes of our women's basketball team. Cori, how are you here on a Friday?
I am well. How are you?
Good. Just give us the update. I think you guys are in phase 3, right, of practice, and how is that all going?
We're in 2. We're in
you're still
2.
in 2. Okay.
Yeah. And it's going well. It's hard to hold back the horses.
Yeah.
Once we started doing things that looked like basketball, they wanted to do basketball. So things are progressing really well, and we're holding them back, and understandingly so. There are just certain things that we can't do yet. Got to constantly remind them about spacing and that kind of thing. Yeah, I think it's going really well. I'm really impressed with how we're progressing. I'm really impressed with how committed they are, especially with these unknowns that are all around us at all times. So, so far, so good, right?
Yeah. When will you guys be able to hit that next step and get to phase 3 and ramp it up?
That'll be in another week. So we have one more week in this, and then we'll be so basically in November is when we'll start our phase 3.
So that's all the on the court stuff. How about the off the court engagements? You've spoken a lot about wanting to use this time to build your team as a team and as people. How has that been going? What else is maybe new, or have you guys done as a group in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's interesting how and I don't know if just these times are making the players be a little bit more vocal about the things they're concerned about. But I mean, this weekend we have a ton of stuff that we're doing. We're doing the ocean cleanup as a team on Sunday morning. We're also doing a walk for suicide prevention on Sunday afternoon. So we're engaged in the things that are happening. We've talked a lot about voting. Just talked a lot about other issues that we're concerned about. Kind of pacing ourselves as well. The vote's going to be coming in soon, and I actually just did my training for that. Had a little bit of a heart palpitation when I got my notice that I was going to be a supervisor of a polling place because I don't have any experience. And luckily, that it isn't what it sounds like. I thought I was going to be in charge of it, and I thought, oh my God, I have no idea what I'm doing. But I'm just going to be checking people, and that's what that means. So we talked a little bit about that, and kids have been coming in and saying that they voted. So we're excited about that. Last night when I was leaving practice, a couple of the kids said they wanted to get back and watch the debate. So excited about that. And I just think they're being engaged, and that's wonderful.
Yeah. I have my sticker right here. I went and voted today. So I got the sticker. I did the early voting. Easiest thing I've ever done. I hope it's something that we can continue to do because I know so many people, we said this at the top of the show, you hear the stories, I was coming home from work, I wanted to vote, but I saw there was a long line, so I didn't.
Yeah, it's concerning when you think about, especially in this time, lines. And there was a big decision by the Supreme Court. I don't know if you saw that a couple days ago, kind of went under the radar because they didn't actually say any reason why they did it. There was a dissent that was public, but stopping curbside voting in Alabama for people with disabilities. And, to me, that's very disappointing, especially in this time where people are very, very at risk, that we can't accommodate that. And I understand also that there are risks involved in that as far as making sure that everything is on the up and up and there's no tampering with anything. But I think that the gain far outweighs any risk that's there. And I think people are being thoughtful and putting things in place so that won't happen. So I just say we should be encouraging, instead of discouraging people from voting this, and doing everything we can to accommodate those that really do have legitimate concerns about their health and their safety. So I was a little bit disappointed by that, but people want, when they have a will, they have a way, right? So hopefully that somebody will help out with that.
I wanted to get your thoughts, Cori, on you're somebody who I know is in the world of compliance and sports things. The NCAA, their management council announced they plan to vote on it next week, the blanket waiver for the 2020-2021 season.
Yeah.
Maybe for those that maybe don't understand what that means and what the ramifications are of a blanket waiver for this whole year.
Well, the blanket waiver would basically say that this is a freebie, right? So any participation that we actually could have as far as competition, it wouldn't count towards your eligibility. So in Division III, NCAA Division III, you typically have 10 semesters to complete 4 seasons of competition. And that's so if something happens, you actually have another year, basically have 5 years. They break it up into semesters. You get a free year. You'll be able to practice and compete this year, and it won't count towards your 4 seasons. So, for somebody that wants to stay in for 5 years, in theory, this would be kind of like redshirting, where you're just like working on your skills. If we're lucky, we get some competition, and it just doesn't count. So that's great. I mean, that's great if that's what you want to do. I personally, I know we talked a little bit about this. I don't really have a lot of kids that are in 5-year programs. I don't have any this year that would want to come back. So I'm really rooting for getting as many games in anyway. But if there's a blanket waiver, it won't matter how many we get in, for those people that are in 5-year programs to be able to stay another year and play another year. So that's great.
I was going to ask, so there'd be that covers everything no matter what. There wouldn't be I know in soccer, I was speaking to Craig about this yesterday. They scheduled 9 conference games and then 1 ladder, format for their playoffs, so that they would only be playing 10 games to stay under, kind of to get the best of both worlds. But with the blanket waiver, would it not matter at all? Wouldn't it matter if you played 40 games?
That's my understanding. And I think that the reason that they're doing that is so that's my understanding. I haven't read it.
Oh yeah, there's always minutia.
Correct. Right now, as it stands, if you play half your games, you still get you still get a waiver that you can compete next year. So right now, the reality of the situation, talking in real terms about how COVID spreads and the likelihood that we'd be able to participate and not have some kids get sick and have to, not be able to play games, 50% would probably be pretty good, right? If we could get half those games, and considering the circumstances, if we don't have a vaccine, if things don't get better, that would be great. That would be ideal. So I think that they're trying to perhaps take away the math. Don't worry about how many games you get in. Just play if you can, and don't worry about it because it's not going to count. And that's my understanding. So that would, like I said, then if you can get those 12 games in, then Craig can get 12 games in. That would be wonderful for those guys. We were looking at, trying to limit how many games we had. And I know that when we spoke on this before, I was saying, I just want to play as many as we can for Mary and Brooke, but it won't matter to everybody else now. So it'll be a moot point. We probably would all say, let's see how many games we can play. And the reality is maybe we'll play half. So I think that's what its goal is to take the math out of the equation.
I say that logic kind of makes sense, because what's easier for the NCAA to have to process every single claim from every school or person about saying, hey, I'm using this as my 5th year, or just saying, hey, guess what? Everybody gets the 5th year. I don't want to have to deal with the paperwork.
Yeah.
Easier just to say, you all get it.
Yeah. And I think too, the reality of the situation has changed as we've progressed too, because they did have some ideas about how they wanted to look at individuals for a while, right? They were going to give certain blanket waivers to certain situations, and then the rest they were going to look at a case-to-case basis. But as this has progressed, I think that the NCAA is realizing that that's very realistic, unrealistic, that they would be able to really do that to accommodate the reality of how many people are going to be affected by this, how many athletes are actually going to be affected. So, but we have to look at it too. I think our AD made a very valid point the other day on a call, and that is, all these kids that are going to come back, we're also recruiting.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a lot of athletes, that are looking for a place. So the competition, I think, will be pretty high for a couple of years there, because you're going to have kids that have had those extra years to develop, and they're going to stick around. And then you'll have all these new players coming in, and you're going to have to make some cuts, I think. And I think cutting people perhaps that you wouldn't have cut before, which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we'll ever be in that circumstance. It's a good and a bad situation. Right.
We'll have some men's ice hockey players who will be married with kids and still still on the team.
Absolutely, yeah, yep. With the demographics for them, that's for sure. Yep.
Cori, always love speaking with you. You do a great job. You help send us into the weekend. So
there we go.
Thank you so much for coming on, and hope you have an enjoyable weekend. Great to talk with you.
You too. Nice talking to you. Bye, guys.
All right, that's Coach Cori Hughes of our women's basketball team. We're going to take a short break and be back with the producers to wrap up this week's show. Take it easy. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I am your host, Andrew Pezzelli. Want to bring in the producers now, Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, to help close out today's program. Joey and Mike, I always like getting your impressions first from our guests here today. What stood out to both of you from who we had on?
It's just nice to get to, pick Scott Barrett's mind, just because, he's in our field. So, I know, it's just it's just nice to hear him talk about, stuff he had wished he had known growing up. And mentioning that story Joey had, too, about the new member of the staff.
Yeah, exactly. I think the same thing. I like having Scott on. One, I think that's just cool that we have, outside people in and, who come on the show. And also, just hearing about all the inner machinations of the Newport Daily News and all that is really cool.
Yeah, I brought it up during the middle of the program. I want to bring it up again and maybe get your guys' thoughts on it once this news came out about the options for Thanksgiving break. Option 1, staying on campus the whole time. Option 2, going home but then coming back and maybe having to quarantine depending on where you're coming from. And then option 3, which is to just go home and then stay home and go remote for the rest of the semester. What was your guys, when you guys are students, seniors, what's your reactions to that? And I guess which options are you weighing for Thanksgiving break?
That's a little interesting because is it if you leave campus? Because I'm from Rhode Island, so I wasn't worried too much about it because I'm like, oh, I'm in the state anyway. But I don't know. I'm really going to have to think hard about that one and take a look for myself. But I don't know. How about you, Joey? I'm not really sure, honestly, because you're from out of state, right?
Yeah, I'm only an hour away, but I'm going to be staying here just because it only would have been my parents and my sister. So, we're not having we're not even having my other sister and her husband over or anybody. So, what's the point? And we were just yeah, it's not worth, because my mom has an autoimmune disease and it's not like we would have gone anywhere in those 4 days, but why take the risk and why waste the gas, really? To have me come all the way over there and my mom was disappointed, but she was like, yeah, you're right, you make a good point, just stay there, and we don't want to anything weird to happen and it to come bite Salve. And so I don't know, I think a lot of people, if they can, should try to stay, just but like I understand if you want to go home because it's kind of a stressful year. So I understand.
Yeah, as long as you're doing it safe, I do. There is a list actually that was released of a bunch of different places that if you're coming in from, you have to quarantine now. This one was released, so this is if you go look at this, it's the Newport Buzz. So take a look if you're going to any of these states below, and these are the ones you have to quarantine from, or quarantine Rhode Island, or produce a positive or a negative COVID test. If you show proof, you can also you can come in and leave as you will.
Interesting. What else do you guys have here to close out this week's programming?
I'll let Joey go first if he has anything. If not, I got a.
I really don't. I was going to talk about just what I was doing for Thanksgiving. I didn't really have much else to find.
I'll bring this in very quickly. Then this is just to show you guys. It's a high school sports schedule for the weekend. There's my town again, East Greenwich, right there. So if you want to see that game. And this one is from the Newport Daily News, Scott Barrett. So take a look at this and show the Newport Daily News some love as well. But this is and you can find this schedule if you have if you're looking for something to do on the weekend. These should be some good games coming up.
Cool. As I say, things we can prepare for this time next week will be our last show before Halloween. So maybe plan out what you're gonna wear next Friday. It won't be a flannel Friday. It'll be a costume Friday.
Yeah,
definitely.
I will say, because I remembered, I asked on Reddit what that theory you're talking about is. I haven't gotten an answer yet, but r/tip of my tongue has never let me down.
Oh,
so by Monday, we should have an answer to the all technology can be found in nature thing, because now I want to know.
I can't wait for that.
Awesome. Ask the internet anything. You'll get an answer. It might not be the right answer. It might not be an appropriate answer, but you will get an answer.
Someone, the first comment was like, Fibonacci sequence, golden ratio. And I'm like, I don't think they were serious. I'm like, that's not helpful.
Yeah,
we'll have to we'll comb through those results as they come in. Fellas, great work as always this week. Hope you guys have an enjoyable weekend, and I'll talk to you both on Monday.
All right, have a good weekend, everybody.
All right. That is Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, the producers here on Seahawk Talk. I want to give a big shout out to our guests here today. Once again, we had Chris Peasley from our men's basketball team, Tim Sweeney from men's ice hockey, Scott Barrett of the Newport Daily News checking in with us, and then we rounded out the show, as always, on our Friday with Coach Cori Hughes from our women's basketball team. We had a great show today. Once again, we're live every day, 3 to 4 p.m. on the Salve Athletics Network, Monday through Friday on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope through Twitter. You can go back, subscribe, or follow on those platforms to go watch all the past shows if you missed them. And you could also get Seahawk Talk on the go. Just subscribe to the Seahawk Talk podcast on your favorite podcasting platform, and you can never miss a show. Well, once again, thanks to our guests and our producers. I am Andrew Pezzelli. Hope you enjoyed this week's show programming, and we'll talk to you all on Monday. Have a safe weekend, everybody.